In the late 1970s, a strange tapping sound began echoing across global shortwave radios. It was rhythmic, sharp, and relentless, earning the eerie nickname the Russian Woodpecker. No one knew where it came from, but it disrupted everything from aviation to amateur radio. Behind this auditory enigma was one of the Cold War's best-kept secrets, the Soviet Union's Duga radar system. The Duga system was a Soviet over-the-horizon (OTH) radar network capable of detecting intercontinental ballistic missile launches from thousands of kilometers away by bouncing radio waves off the ionosphere. It wasn't just large, it was colossal, with the most famous installation near Chernobyl standing 150 meters tall and stretching 700 meters across. The Cold War was not just an arms race, it was a surveillance war. The Duga Radar was the Soviet Union's answer to a surprise nuclear strike. Built to give early warning of a US missile launch, it was one of the USSR's most expensive and ambitious defense technologies, hidden in plain sight yet marked on Soviet maps as a summer camp or radio relay tower. Operating in the shortwave band with over 10 megawatts of power, the Duga signal interfered with communications across continents. Ham radio operators were baffled, airlines complained, and some manufacturers even began building woodpecker filters into their electronics to block the interference. The signal became a global nuisance and a global mystery. You're watching another episode from Weaver's Nest. If you love hidden histories and untold stories from the past, don't forget to subscribe and join our curious community of learners. Duga 1, the most iconic radar, had its transmitter in Lubeck and receiver in Chernobyl 2, a secret military town hidden from public view. The transmitter and receiver worked in tandem, bouncing signals off the ionosphere and listening for anomalies in return. Locals living nearby had no idea what it really did, only that it was heavily guarded and off-limits. There were actually 3 known Duga installations: the prototype near Mykolaiv, the western system near Chernobyl, and the eastern system in Siberia near Komsomolsk-on-Amur. Together, they formed a continental net to detect missile launches from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Yet despite their scale, most of the world only ever knew one, the one that tapped into their radios. The Russian woodpecker signal had a chilling psychological effect. Some believed it was a form of mind control, others feared it was disrupting weather patterns. These conspiracy theories, while wild, reflect the Cold War's climate of paranoia, where secrecy fed fear and unexplained signals were often imagined as sinister technologies. Then came April 1986. The Chernobyl disaster not only devastated Ukraine, it also contaminated Chernobyl 2 and rendered the Duga radar system hazardous to operate. Strangely, the radar continued transmitting for a few more years after the explosion, fueling dark theories about its purpose and whether the reactor meltdown was a cover-up. The 2015 Sundance-winning documentary, The Russian Woodpecker, introduced the world to one chilling theory, that the disaster was deliberately orchestrated to hide the failure of Duga by officials whose careers depended on its success. While unproven, this theory revived global fascination with the Duga and its role in Cold War secrecy. By 1989, the tapping stopped. The Soviet Union was collapsing, and new satellite-based systems made OTH radar obsolete. The immense cost, political instability, and radioactive surroundings sealed Duga's fate. The once mighty towers became metallic skeletons, looming silently in the forests of northern Ukraine. Today, the Duga installation is a chilling monument within the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Tourists and historians visit it to witness Cold War engineering on an almost mythical scale. Rusted but defiant, it stands as a tangible relic of a time when nuclear paranoia drove governments to build monsters in the woods. OTH radar wasn't exclusive to the Soviets. The US had its own systems like the ANFPS 118, and Australia had the JORN project, but none left a psychological mark like Duga. Its mysterious nature, scale, and the haunting woodpecker signal captured imaginations worldwide, unlike its Western counterparts. From Cold War fiction to conspiracy lore, Duga has inspired books, blogs, games, and even horror fiction. It appears in the Call of Duty video game series, post-apocalyptic novels, and YouTube horror ARGs. Its haunting sound and silhouette have turned it into a symbol of hidden power, failed ambition, and enduring mystery. The story of the Duga Radar reminds us of what happens when power operates in secrecy. It's a monument not just to engineering, but to the paranoia, denial, and ambition of its era. In today's world of AI surveillance and cyber warfare, Duga echoes a chilling question. What signals are we missing now? As the world races into the next age of surveillance technology, the story of the Duga Radar remains a critical reminder of how easily innovation can blur into obsession. If you found this story captivating, consider subscribing to Weaver's Nest, where history's whispers become today's conversation. Let's keep exploring the shadows of the past together.